Here we have all the parts of the clock, well the main parts anyway, to enable us to get the clock running. So we put the main parts together here and put the clock mechanism up on the wall. So it already has the pallets at the front there and the crutch at the back fitted. We fitted them in a previous video when we had the mechanism put together to show how it works. It's been taken apart and now we're putting it back together. So we put the main gears in with the escape wheel at the top, the second wheel, and then the center wheel, which is the one with the weight drum on it. I'm just putting in now. I put washers on in front. The rear of this clock frame design has a sort of a spine which stops the shafts going right through, so they have a stopper at the back already, so you don't need any spacers or washers at the back. It looks like I forgot to put the washer on the center wheel there, but not to worry for now. We'll still be able to show how the setup works when we put it up on the wall. So we line up the shafts here in through the holes in the front plate, put the wedges in, and then we're ready to mount the clock on the wall, although we'll put the pendulum on as well while we're here. So here we have the pendulum uh, complete. In a previous video we glued the dowel into the pendulum head at the top there, and the pendulum bob is on it there. I didn't do a video for that. It's fairly self-explanatory from the drawings how the pendulum bob goes together. So we put this onto its hanger, put the washer on first, then the pendulum head onto the hanger pin, and then in this version of the clock there was a tight fitting wood washer at the back, metal washer then the wood washer. In later versions the hanger there that mounts the clock to the wall extends down and the pin goes right through. So it's slightly different than we have here. This was mentioned in a previous video also. So we'll bring it out and we get it ready to mount it on the wall. There's another version of this same clock on the wall there. It has a grasshopper escapement in it. Grasshopper is very nice, but they're a bit more tricky than the escapement that's in this clock, which is a Graham escapement, a deadbeat Graham escapement they call it. So get the camera ready to see how the clock is mounted. You can actually see the escapement in that clock there is slightly different looking. It's a grasshopper one. Grasshoppers are very quiet. As I said, they're not quite as simple to do as the deadbeat Graham escapement that's in this current clock we're going to put up now. So, with the screwdriver and the screw and the already prefixed roll plug in the plasterboard wall. So we'll just mount a fixing screw at the top for now. The two bottom mounting plates there, incidentally, are on the wrong way. You see the angles of the slots in them, they should be the other way around because they're meant to form a circular sort of configuration around the top screw so you can adjust the clock left and right. Somehow I put them on backwards. So the left one should be on the right side and the right one should be on the left. But for this video, it won't matter too much. So here we have the string. Take careful note now of the direction I put the string around the drum with a little loop on the end of it, and then I feed the end through the loop. Putting it on this direction, it gets a better grip on the drum when you make the first few turns of the drum to get a couple of windings on it. If you put it on the other way, it's more likely to slip. So you just pull that loop tight, and by the whole virtue of the direction the loop was put onto the drum, it gets a good grip. So we'll just put the string on the other side of the frame there. Now I'm going to wind the string onto the drum, and while I'm doing that I keep a light tension on the string so that it doesn't wind up into a mess onto the drum. Because of the ratchet mechanism on the drum, you could turn it one way freely to allow the string to be wound up, but when you now pull the string, the ratchets will grip the center wheel to drive the mechanism. So in the bottle here I have about 800 grams of water, and now we start the clock ticking. Now when I move the clock left or right here, you'll actually hear it go in and out of beat. So you can adjust the beat that way for very fine tuning, but you can also twist the pallets here while holding the pendulum relative to the crutch at the back, and you can change the beat of the clock that way. So if you had all 3 screws fixed into the wall and you're happy with how level the clock is, you can adjust it by turning the pallets very slightly compared to the pendulum at the back to get the beat right. You want an even tick tock each side. So I have to lift the left side up here so it doesn't go in as deeply into the teeth, and it evens it out as seen. And this is the clock mechanism running now. As long as the gears were all put in and everything is running smoothly and tested, it all should run quite nicely even from the first go. Now we'll have a close up look at the clock. And see the gears up closely. So you can see the angle of the escape wheel pushing the pallet away as the pendulum swings the pallet teeth out of the escape wheel teeth. So in effect the weight is driving the gears, and when the pendulum releases a tooth at a time at the top, the escape wheel actually gives the pendulum a little push, or an impulse as it's called, which keeps the whole mechanism running. And that's it.